Well, that was a movie.
Hello, welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and we just saw Strays, the new Will Ferrell movie that's kind of like if Homeward Bound met like Sausage Party, because it's taking like this children's movie concept essentially and then making it like crude, and half the joke is that they're just saying the F-bomb in every sentence almost, and that is half the humor of the movie.
They said other curse words as well.
They did, yes, they definitely did. But yeah, so it's starring Will Ferrell, Isla Fisher, a lot of people, Jamie Foxx, Rob Riggle, Josh Gad, Will Forte, Randall Park, Sofia Vergara, I mentioned, placed the couch.
Yep.
I think she had one or two lines maybe, but anyway.
A stellar performance.
It's actually a pretty good cast, but
yeah,
I mean, it was fine. It definitely made me laugh. I wouldn't say it was a good movie, but it was funny.
It was better than I expected.
Yes.
Which isn't saying much. Because
Right.
I didn't really expect anything.
It was better than it could have been, but it was also worse than it could have been. Like, there were genuine moments that were funny.
Yeah.
But also, there were a lot of moments I was like, that could have been a lot funnier than you did it. They stole, like, a Reddit or Twitter knock-knock joke, where it was like, knock-knock, and then the dogs just start barking. And I was like, you stole that joke. That joke's already existed, and you told a not funny version of it. Although Jamie Foxx did add one line to the end of it where it's like, I'm trying to tell a joke, and he was like, there's nothing funny about somebody being at the door, and that kind of redeemed the joke a little bit. But there's a lot of jokes in there that I was like, that wasn't funny.
Hey, but dog humor.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. That's the whole argument.
Sure.
That's the whole argument.
You gonna expand on that? Nope.
That's the whole
That's it.
argument.
I don't know that we need to go over the plot or anything. None of it really matters, and you see it in the trailer anyway.
I mean, yeah, like I'd forgotten the plot
Right.
until we got to the movie, but then I remembered, yeah, the plot was, dog gets abandoned by owner. Dog finds out he's abandoned by owner.
Yeah.
Dog wants revenge by biting dick off of owner.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, like I said, kind of like the Homeward Bound type thing, where it's just, you know, a group of dogs trying to get from one place to another, and they're being voice acted.
Yeah.
And then you throw in a bunch of F-bombs and crude humor, and it's like I said, it's like that Sausage Party type thing where it's like, I was a little worried that the joke would wear thin halfway through, and I won't say the joke did. I will say, though, that the jokes weren't consistent enough to keep me consistently entertained, because half the time I was bored, half the time I was laughing, and I was like, I wish it could have been a little bit more consistent throughout, because there were some really, really funny parts, and I guess we're going to get into spoilers if we're talking about it, but it really doesn't matter. We're just going to be spoiling jokes for you. Before we do that, I'll say this. It was good for a one-time viewing. I'm not mad or upset that I watched it once.
Yeah.
I never plan to see it again.
I have no intention of paying for it ever again.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe I'd watch it again, but someone else will be putting it on probably.
Yeah. Go watch it if it seems like an interesting concept to you. Like I said, could have been done better. Could have been done a lot worse, though. So it was fine. It was enjoyable. But like I said, I don't really plan on seeing it again.
Hey, if dogs with dick jokes is what you want,
sure,
you got it.
And some surprisingly creative dark humor in there as well. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna get into some of that now. I think my favorite part of the movie was when they went to the fair. So you got the fireworks, and that was freaking them out. You got the narrator dog who's in his own world, and that joke was good on its own. But then the twist of his owner being a serial killer was hilarious. That was probably the funniest part of the whole movie. And like,
no one wanted to listen to him. They should have.
And that was also like the only joke that either wasn't really predictable or wasn't already in the trailer. Like, most of the humor, even though it was pretty good at times, it was like you knew where it was going before it went there.
Yeah.
That caught me completely off guard.
How were we ever supposed to expect the owner's a serial killer?
Because like you think like they do the setup and you're like, oh, this is funny. It's making fun of, you know, the goody two shoes like Marley and Me type movies or whatever, where the dog is the hero or whatever. And so it's doing that, and you're like, that was funny. I enjoyed that joke. And then he's like, nobody's listening to me, which is a shame because he has 3 bodies in his backyard and nobody seems to care about it. Oh well.
It was wild as hell, but I did enjoy. I did laugh at the prison scene where they're like, we need to get the keys. They're all the way over there.
That joke
we
was
need we need like a long hard ride. It's the whole time they've been making jokes about this the bigger dogs having a
dick.
big dick.
Yeah.
The whole movie. So now it's just like we need something, a hard, long rod to reach across and grab it. And he gets up there and tries.
Isla Fisher's dog is getting him horny the whole time.
She's talking dirty to him.
And then you zoom out, and it's like it's still like 5 feet away.
Yeah, he's a dog. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, of course it did reach. That was good. I think also, one of the jokes that I think would have been hilarious was them getting stoned if it wasn't, or getting high on mushrooms, would have been really funny if it wasn't already in the trailer. But luckily, they didn't put the whole thing in the trailer because she goes, oh, what's that smell? Oh, look, toys. And they start ripping them apart, and you instantly know, those aren't toys. So then they wake up the next morning, and there's just these baby rabbits that they've absolutely destroyed.
Rabbits they know nothing about, mind you. Nothing about.
Yeah.
No one's ever heard of or seen those rabbits.
Yeah.
They never existed.
That was hilarious. That was really funny. This is just one of those, like, amnesia movies, I feel like, if you know what I mean, where it's like you watch it and you walk in and you're like, I know I enjoyed parts and I know I laughed at parts, but I don't remember anything.
I knew the second it was over I was gonna struggle trying to remember this movie.
You just like, we were walking over to the car, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, what am I gonna say? I don't even know what to say, and luckily it helps that you're here because you can kind of like remember stuff together. But if I was doing this by myself, I'd been like, I don't know, I remember I saw a movie, I'm sure, but like it's just, it's gone. It's already gone.
I just remember hits. This misfortunate biting accident.
Actually, I thought his tragic backstory was like very well told, which was like out of place with how bad the rest of the movie was. And then I was like, oh, this is interesting because like he's owned by this like 5-year-old girl who steps on his paw, so he bites her, and so then they sent him to be put down. I was like, this is actually like an interesting plot almost. Like this is interesting. Nothing else has been interesting. That's wild. What was also clever, because this movie does have really clever moments in it, but so like they're trying to figure their way back, and so it's from a dog's perspective of what he saw as landmarks. And so it starts, I was like, oh, it was a giant hamster wheel. I was like, that's pretty obvious. You knew what that was going to be. And then it was like, oh, there was a giant cone. And at least I was like, I don't know what that's supposed to be. Maybe it's like a building or something. It turns out it's a mountain. And then there's like a devil in the sky. And you have no idea what that's going to be. And then it's a billboard with a mailman on it. That was funny. I really enjoyed how they treated mailmen in this.
The climax of the movie, the dick biting, that was well done. That was well done.
Yeah, the way that they portrayed him biting it, like obviously it's just a chew toy. But then like they cut to him like punching it.
Give him the rabbit punches.
That was really funny. Oh, they had Wrecking Ball playing during it. That was a very good choice. I enjoyed that. Also, I didn't think the scene itself was that funny when they're in the pound and they all need to take a shit so that the guy will come and they can get out. But the song choice, oh shit. That made that scene actually funny, because otherwise it really wouldn't have been.
Yeah, it was just alright.
But once again, good song choice made that scene better.
And they had the guard come in and say some just random crap that had nothing.
Yeah,
that was never going anywhere.
You know all about me and my dad, which by the way, he's painting like a nude painting of himself.
Yeah, to send to his dad.
To give to his dad.
He's gonna love it.
So I don't.
He had his ass cheeks full frame. All right, just round as fuck.
While still you could see his entire face.
He had to get that perfect turn.
It's like the female superhero pose. Yeah. You can somehow see the entirety of the ass and the face. I will say also, like, I haven't seen any movies with like protagonist animals in a while. Like that. One, I'm an adult now. They typically aren't those made for us.
Yeah.
And two, I just feel like they're not as common as they were because animal cruelty became much more of a hot button topic since we were kids.
But we have the technology for it now.
We also, I feel like, can do it in a more humane way than, you know, Milo and Otis, where they threw the cat off the waterfall.
Oh, fuck.
It was an Asian film, and they just threw the cat off a waterfall. That's how they filmed that scene. I was like, oh my god. Well, I guess I can't watch that movie anymore. I will say though that I was like, they train these dogs so well, like to get like their little mannerisms in, and maybe it was partially that they went over it after the fact and added, but it was like Will Ferrell's character dog or whatever was saying something while the other character was saying something, and the dog would just like tilt his head or like look and turn. I was like, that was impressive. Like that was really well done. I don't know how they did that. It was great. great training. They did that very well. Voice acting was good too. I mean, like I said, it was Randall Park, Isla Fisher, Jamie Foxx, Will Ferrell were the main four, and they were all really good.
Yep.
really enjoyed it. So, like I said, it's kind of a forgettable movie that I probably won't watch again, but I definitely enjoyed it the first time.
But yeah, we've pretty much mentioned the best moments.
Yeah.
I can remember the eagle other than that.
Yeah. And there's definitely a lot of jokes that it just don't land. Not that there was like a big audience, there was us and 3 other people, but like nobody was laughing at half the jokes. And there's just, you know, the typical like pause after saying something that they think is funny, and then because nobody's laughing, it's just an awkward pause. There was definitely like, that was half the movie.
See, but that was great because then it set up the one guy snores because he was asleep. And every perfect opportunity, he just come in with a loud one.
It was fine. Like I said, not gonna put it on my top 10 movies of the year list or whatever. Certainly not mad that I watched it though.
Yeah, if you got like a $5 Tuesday night movie deal, yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, seeing an opening night for $15, maybe not.
I saw the guy putting up the sign afterwards for Strays. They didn't even have the poster up yet.
They didn't even put it up yet. Wow.
Yeah, he was putting it up as we walked out of the first showing.
They're like, oh shit, maybe we should have a poster for the movie we're showing. I don't know. I mean, if you're only selling 5 tickets to opening night, I don't know that many people are going to go see it. I got the tickets on the app, and I was just like, well, we may be alone. Because we're the only 2 here so far. There's nothing memorable about this movie. The directing was boring. The writing was boring. The only thing that was entertaining at all was a couple of good jokes, and we already mentioned them. So it's like...
Yeah, I guess it's shrooms.
I even went as far as to compliment the dog's acting. Like, there's not much you can say. I think we're done. It's a pretty forgettable movie, but it's not a bad time either.
Like I said, $5 Tuesdays, why not?
Sure, just not opening night. All right, we're done. Bye, guys.
Bye.